Life and death. What is life and what is death? I believe that life is the visible world that I see, and death is the world of sleep, the world that I normally see in sleep when I fall asleep in deep sleep. I believe that that is the world that I see when I lose the light, the visible world. So that when I am awake, when I wake up, or when in a state of wake, I normally experience. I walk through I walk through my world, see the world, walk, touch objects, food, breathe and breathe and touch, breathe and touch, breathe and touch food and eat. And I can taste, I can smell, I can see, I can hear, I can touch, I can feel, I can touch and be touched. And that is the visible world, the world that I see, and that sees me and reacts to me, the world that I see and react to me, and that is the world of the living. So that I see that life is reacting to the world of the living, perceiving and reacting to the world of the living, and death is perceiving and reacting to the world of the dead, of the sleeping world. And death is normally a point where one loses contact with the world of the living, with the world of the living, and falls into the world of the people who cannot perceive the world of the living. Where I believe that when I fall asleep, I experience death in its temporary form. I experience death in I fall for some time. I sleep for some time in the world of the death. I experience a static world, a world that is not moving, and I can feel warmth, but I feel warmth, but I can see sunlight only through sort of like a curtain. My eyelids are the curtain in that sense that I through my eyelids I can see the light, I can see the sunlight or the moonlight, and I can feel the warmth on my skin, and I can also listen. I can listen to people talking, or without moving. I can when I'm asleep without moving, I can listen to people talking, or people moving, or vehicles, or the weather, be it rain on the roof or on the windows, or thundering. That sometimes when I'm in a light form of sleep, I can feel it. But in the form of deep sleep, I can feel nothing. I don't see anything. I don't hear anything. I don't taste anything. I don't smell anything. I don't feel anything. I'm just in a stable condition. I'm just there in a state of I'm just there in a state of being, and that is what I perceive. That is what I think is death. And death means that I fall into a helpless state, sort of. I fall into a new environment. That is why I think that it is always good to have angels in the world of the living, who have been, or who in the world of the living, or in the world of the dead, who have lived in the world of the living, so that they can prepare the way for somebody to meet them in the world of the dead, so that when they are in the world of the living, they meet the different elements of nature, the different spirits and ghosts, the different the different spirits and ghosts in the sky, or in their own direct immediate environment, or in the strange environments. Because an environment is not just an environment. An environment of the living is not just an environment. An urban environment is different from a rural environment, and a rural environment is not necessarily a jungle, because a jungle is also part of the rural environment. But living and dying in the rural environment is living and dying in the family. Living and dying in the jungle is living and dying with animals that perceive somebody and speak and communicate with somebody differently than human beings. And living and dying in a technological environment is almost like living in a jungle, because you live like many animals. You live like animals in a beehive, or like animals in an anthill, or in a termite hill. Many animals in one small enclosed space, and the 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 sizes of the animals are defined by the heights, the change of the heights of their voices, how the voices change, and how the sounds in the environment, how the appliances, the appliances and the furniture and the different sounds, like a switch going on, or a television, or a cup being stirred, or somebody drinking, like when I drink drinks, or when I eat food. My distance from my plate can be judged easily by approximating the distance of my hand, the time that it takes for my hand to reach my mouth. Every time it completes a whole cycle from my mouth to the plate and back to the mouth, and that way I can be I can find out how alive I am, or how dead I am, physically and mentally. And this is actually the world of the living, the world of gadgets, of the living, where one can perceive a lot of objects, depending on a person's familiarity with the objects. So that the sound of a telephone, for example, can be confused with the sound of a xylophone, but once one knows the ringtone, once one knows the user, or once one has used that appliance, and one always learns on it as a microprocessor. Like my family would learn in my world as microprocessors. It is and I would learn in the world as a microprocessor unit in their telephones. It is easy to find out by the voice of the telephones where what kind of object is on, or is on electricity, or is an electrical appliance, and what object is an inanimate, what object is not using electricity. So that sleep is an inanimate form of life, because when I fall asleep, I don't move physically, but mentally I move a lot. I move a lot in my mind, so that this world that is actually not. It is not. I believe that it is not specific to myself alone, because I believe that when I close my eyes, my world becomes black. I become black. My whole environment becomes black, a black light. And I believe that everybody else experiences the same. So that people, when their eyes are open, they see us differently. They see other people differently, in different colors. And but when they close their eyes, they see people in that black light, that everybody sees black. Everybody is black. Everybody has a black soul, because I believe that everybody has a black soul. I believe that everybody has a black soul, and that black soul, I believe, is the form of death. There's black soul, and there's other multicolored, cultural, multicolored, rainbow phenotype rainbow soul is the soul of the living, and the black soul, the black soul, the soul that one sees when one closes his eyes or when one falls asleep. And closes his eyes, or when one closes his eyes and falls asleep, is the soul that is normally alive when one dies. It is the soul that is taken to heaven. It is the soul that is normally processed again to open its eyes one day somewhere else into a different multicultural environment or multicolored environment or rainbow environment. So that I believe when one dies, it is the black soul that is normally taken to be processed. It is the black soul that is taken to heaven by angels, because it is the soul that is present in all living beings, so that the eyes are actually an optical illusion. It is a mirage. The eyes are just a mirage in this world to just present the skin as our only soul, because we only see the skin as our soul, but our skin is the perfection. Our skins are perfection, so that when one dresses the skin in different heights, in different skins, in different textiles, in different clothes, we look beautiful, we look handsome. But when one opens that soul, that skin, one sees all the organs that resemble a butchery and that resemble bloody memories of bloody experiences. And nobody likes opening these souls. That's why our souls are actually the skin and the hair. That is basically our soul. But the second soul that we normally see is that we normally only open after death or when we get injured. It's the black soul that is in itself. Actually, it is black, but when one opens it, it is a black vacuum. But when one opens it, one also finds organs which are colored all brown meat, white bones, red blood, and white ligaments, and but it is actually that is just the phenotype also of the phenotype of the skin. More organs of the skin, organs that belong to the visible world that the eyes perceive. So that the eyes are like the soul of the living. The eyes are the soul of the living world, and the eyes and the teeth and the tongue complete the whole impression, the whole impression of being alive, of being active in the universe. Although when one closes one's eyes, one sees the universe that is actually the big soul that I'm talking about, that one disappears into when one loses these organs. But it is the soul that doesn't have to have organs. This black soul didn't have to have organs, because the colored soul, the skin, it already possesses all organs just through its daily routine and daily impregnation of its aesthetic and of its functions on its members of its species and members of its environment. This symbiosis and this chemotaxis, this environmental coexistence. The environmental coexistence makes the visible world, this organism, as small as it is, so that it can feel part of the invisible environment. But when one considers the black environment that one feels and sees when one closes this soul, the eye is the entry point into the universe. When one closes this entry point, or when one closes this entry point into the visible universe, one opens the entry point. That's the portal. That's the universal portal in the vortex. The eye is the vortex into the black universe. One sees that one is just an organism like any other organism, like a cow, like a bird, like a lion, like an insect, like a man, like a woman, like a child. We all have mammals and birds and reptiles and fish. We just have the eyes, and those are the ones that make us feel unique and special on this earth. But when one closes that vortex, one opens the vortex into the world of trees and water and mountains and magma and clouds and earthworms. And earthworm is a good example of a study object from the inanimate world, because an atom is in the sense inanimate, in that it don't have eyes. It senses its world as a different world. It radiates a different kind of energy. It speaks a different kind of language, and this is the vortex into the world that nature normally, the one normally studies nature, how nature is developing, the evolution of nature, how it's developing these invisible, these black, these opaqueness by concentrating on the decoys. The decoys are the eyes. The decoys are like spectacles, because spectacles can be used by anybody, although they belong to specific people. And once they're given to people, they either belong to the shop or to the factory, or to anybody who wants to set them. If they are public property, and if they are private property, they belong to a specific person. And this is the nature that is studying itself, and this ecosystem, the ecology, the ecosystem, the scientific, the science, this age-old science that is evolving, that is being studied, how it is evolving, how it is looking as itself, as an organism which can dress itself inside out, is normally depicted by the eyes, which are actually the inside out, the universe inside out, the black universe with the black, the white, the black and the white, or the blue, red, green, brown, gray pupils in the white orbs. They are like the orange sun or the red sun and the black moon in the universe. How these sources of light are studied as sources of sound. How the sun radiates sound, how the sun radiates sound, and how the moon radiates sound, and how the clouds radiate sound in the environment, in the universe. And this ecosystem is the same one that is evolving, and is definitely going to evolve by switching itself on or off, but eventually by destroying these visible world mechanically, the way it's been doing. Like the Earth, it is just magnetic flux. In the long run, as I said, it is like the earphones or a headset on both sides with the magnetic flux, so that the north and south poles are like two earphones or headsets, and they are pulling each other apart through the force, the magnetic force that is evolving from both sides. So that when the face is pulled apart, one will see the Earth being pulled apart with all its contents being pulled in different directions. That what one will see is the tectonic plate movements. So can imagine on a face like a spectacle being pulled apart, to study the two monopoles, and that is actually also just evolution, and there is evolution, the tectonic plate movements on the organisms and on the organ systems and organisms and ecologies, environments that normally mean life and death, and that is the life and death of one experience, and the different organs are pulled apart and studied in a small scale. That means that the Earth is a very delicate, fragile ecosystem, and a balance of forces, magnetic forces and weights, and densities. There is a density that is normally studied at such small scales, the density of the universe that is studied at such minute objects, and that is just the revolutions of the revolutions of two opposing magnets, the revolutions of two opposing magnets around the circular plate. That the plate is also the magnets are rotating around the plate, and the plate is being pulled apart by the magnets, by the two magnets, the sun and the moon. And that means that the Earth is dying, in that sense it's growing old, and it will be transformed again into the black universe. And the end of the Earth is definitely it will be split apart, the continents will be further split apart, and it will disappear again into the water, and it will disappear, the water will be heated up, and it will disappear with the clouds into the universe, to be formed into different organisms. And that is just a simple deduction that is drawn. One studies the origin, or one studies the mass and the different tectonic plate movements and contours of the latitudes of the aeronautical and atlases and space maps. That in the long run, it is going to be split. It is going to displayed in an expert fashion by expert aliens, and there is a alien that is studying us from above because it is already in safety. As one can see that it can create any object to sound like. It can create any object to sound like. It can create any object to sound like any other object. It can create, for example, it can create a round object to speak like a human being until it takes over the blood system, the blood circulatory system of a human being, and really takes over the living form of the human being and represents and sidelines the human being. And that is life or death in life, like when one is sidelined in life. But otherwise, it is just sitcoms, which are they are called sitcoms. But when one studies it from above, it is actually just objects that are replaced with each other, or which for the mechanical objects that are replaced with each other.